Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Film Snobbery Live. I am your host, the film snob Nic Baisley, and I am joined today by someone who I've been an avid viewer of his movies. I've loved his acting. We really just have. After that, of course, we have our Indiegogo Project of the Week. I'm not even going to waste any time talking about the rest of the show because we have so much that we got to pack in with our guests this evening. I want to welcome everybody and introduce everybody to, not that you guys, he needs no introduction, introduce everyone to our guest for the evening. He is a member of the comedy troupe, Filmmakers, Broken Lizard, and you've seen him in movies like Super Troopers, cult hit Super Troopers, Club Dread, BEERFEST. Help me out here. Slam and Salmon. Ryan, come on, give me another one. Puddle Cruiser, right? Obviously, Puddle Cruiser. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Erik Stolhanske is with us. Hello, Erik. How are you tonight?
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Everyone's hand out there.
I hope you washed it first.
Okay.
So I want to first off, I want to thank you totally for taking time out and responding to us on Twitter and saying, yeah, I would love to do the show, and we're really happy to have you on. I'm really grateful that you took the time to chat with us.
Hey, honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. So what? Let's start in the present and work our way back a little bit. What do you have going on right now, Erik? I mean, we all know you as an actor, you know, and also you write with the Broken Lizard group as well. What do you have going on right now?
Well, we got stuff going on with Broken Lizard, and there's also stuff I got going on individually. Today I was over at Steve's house, one of the guys in Broken Lizard, and we have a deal at Universal Studios to write a film for them. So we're trying to outline that, which we are currently doing. We currently have a script for Super Troopers 2 that we'd love to make. And
everybody has been, like, I'm sure for years, been going up to you like, Super Troopers 2, when? As a matter of fact, I don't know if you remember this. You right before the show, you spoke to my co-host Jerry Cavallaro. I don't know if you know this. You've met him. You guys were doing press in New York City for Slam and Salmon. It was all you guys plus Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah.
And
salmon contest.
Yes. And Jerry was one of the people who interviewed you guys, and he was the one he was in the Netflix watching contest, and he beat Crazy Legs, who had the T-shirt on that had the T-shirt said sequel on it.
Totally, I totally remember.
Yeah, and so it's good to know that you guys are finally now. Are you guys still in the screenwriting stage with that, or are you what stage of development are you in?
We actually have a script that we finished. I mean, we always kind of continue to write all the way up until the day of shooting, but we have a script that we're very happy with. It took a while before we were happy. That we didn't really want to send it out before it got to a point where we were comfortable with it, but we really like where it is now, and so it's out there.
Well, with something like that, do you feel a lot of extra pressure because of the cult hit that Super Troopers became?
Yeah, a tremendous amount. We wrote Super Troopers just with what made us laugh, with no expectations, and you know, we really want to make people happy with Super Troopers 2, so we want it to be a really good product, so we took a lot of time with it.
Now, you mentioned you're working on another project as well. You're going to be acting in a project. Can you tell us any details about that?
I don't quite. I mean, we haven't sold it yet. We're still in outlining form. We pitched Universal a bunch of ideas, and this one that they seem to respond to, but we haven't sold it yet, so I don't know if I really want to say, because I don't know if it's going to amount to anything yet. Well,
let me ask you a question kind of somewhat related. Now, you mentioned, pitching Universal. How do you get in a position to pitch Universal on something? Like, how do you get from Puddle Cruiser, Super Troopers, kind of independent films to, oh, well, I got to go pitch Universal this week, I mean, it just seems like a real leap, just in career and stuff like that, when you're just like, okay, well, I got a meeting with Paramount or Universal or whatever later this week. How do you get from one point to the next?
Well, it came in steps, obviously we made Puddle Cruiser very low budget, independent, and that got into Sundance, which then, if it gets into film festivals, it starts opening doors and you start meeting people. That film did not have a theatrical distribution, but it was a good calling card for us to get money to make Super Troopers, and then when that sold, that got us into the studio system because Fox Searchlight bought it at Sundance. And actually, the way we got into Universal was there's a writer's strike that was happening. We didn't know how long it was going to last, so we had a script called Slam and Salmon that we had written years back, and it was very low budget, and we thought it'd be a good time to raise some money and go shoot that, and we made that independently. And we showed that to some studios, and Universal came and watched it, and they really liked it, but it was too small for them.
Interesting.
They don't really acquire, so they said, but we like your voice, and why don't we try to write some scripts together?
Okay. Now, you mentioned Sundance. Obviously, Sundance this year just ended. Have you been to Sundance over the years since Super Troopers?
I haven't. Well, we took Slam and Salmon to Slam Dance, and I was in Park City.
Okay.
But I've never had a film, and I don't go back every year. It's really insane there. It's fun, but it's crazy.
Now, do you see, from the time that you guys took Super Troopers to Sundance and Slam and Salmon even to Slam Dance, I mean, has there been a huge shift in the way, I guess, the business is done? I mean, obviously, making films digitally has made, making films easier, a little bit more cost effective and stuff like that. From a distribution and acquisition standpoint, have you seen a huge difference in, how the business side gets done, or is it still kind of similar on, is it still kind of similar, what kind of pieces do you feel that, some independent filmmakers might be missing? I know I'm asking the tough questions tonight. I apologize.
Sure. No, I mean, when we first went to Sundance years ago, it was definitely more of like a film market. It was smaller. It wasn't necessarily people just going there for the event and the parties. It was more people going, you could actually watch films. Now it's overcrowded, and a lot of people just fly there for the parties. And, many majors and smaller distribution companies have sort of disappeared in the last couple of years. However, I know this year there's been a lot of sales. I mean, there haven't been a lot of sales of films in the last couple of years, but this year I saw that there's been a lot of sales this year at Sundance, which is very promising for filmmakers. Yeah, no, I mean, I remember last year, some of the big news was there was a lot of service deals and stuff, like Ryan Reynolds and Buried got, that one got picked up, but everyone knew that one was going to get picked up and blah, blah, blah. And then this year, I actually saw some actual independent films get picked up. When you guys, I guess to start with, how did you guys at Broken Lizard all get together? It was college, right? Or was it a little bit before that, or? No, we all went to Colgate University together. Okay. And while we were at Colgate, Jay was asked. Some of a group of us were Paul, Jay, and I were doing theater together, so we were friends, and we were also friends socially with Kevin and Steve and there were more people in the group back in college, and Jay was asked to put on a one-act play once in the student theater group, and he didn't want to do a one-act play. He wanted to form he had come from Chicago, and he had done improv, and he wanted to put together a sketch comedy group like Saturday Night Live, which we loved growing up, and so he auditioned us and some other people, and we had some women in the group at the time, and we put on a sketch comedy show. At the time, we were called Charred Goose Beak while we were at Colgate, and we did sketch comedy at school. And then after we graduated from college, we didn't really know what we wanted to do with our lives, so we pared ourselves down, and a few of us went down to New York City to try our hand at doing sketch comedy in New York. And that's sort of when it became Broken Lizard and the five of us. And, do you guys all write together, correct? Yes. Okay, now how do you guys, kind of each individually come up with, a part of a script and then kind of pitch it to the rest, or is it, you guys kind of all sit around kind of round table style and then kind of, work everything out? I mean, what's kind of the writing process? Is it more kind of separated and then you guys get together and compare notes, or how does it work usually? It's kind of taken a process to find itself over the years. It wasn't organic at first. Now we come up with a bunch of ideas, and we kind of organically decide that one strikes us as the funniest or has sort of the brightest line to it. And so then we'll sit around and we'll outline it, and then we break it up that we each write 20 to 30 to 40 pages each, and usually you get a very fat first draft, but at least you have a first draft.
Right.
And then that starts a process of a round table of everyone reads it, makes notes, comes together, and each script has a bitch, we call it, and that person is the point person for each script, and it rotates.
Okay.
And it's very thankless. It's the secretary. Everyone, makes their notes and tells the notes to you, and you have to implement all those and then make a new draft. And then the guys read that draft and make notes again, and that goes on for about 20 drafts before you have a shooting script.
Wow. Who's the bitch on Super Troopers 2?
It switched a little bit. Jay started on it, and it rotated to Paul, I believe, because Jay started working on some television shows.
Yes, Jay has directed at this point almost at least one episode of every TV show I watch on TV, which is ridiculous.
He's been directing a lot of TV recently.
Yeah, that man is a bit of an overachiever. I think is he that guy, or is he just super driven?
Well, he kind of, Super Troopers really gave him some juice, and then he was able to get jobs working. He was able to get Dukes of Hazzard. He directed Dukes of Hazzard for Warner Brothers. And then from then on, he started getting in the TV world, and he just bounces from comedy to comedy because he does a great job.
Now, just speaking of Jay for one more minute, and then we'll definitely get back to all of your stuff, because Jay's not here. But I know there's one question on everybady's mind. How the hell do you pronounce his last name?
Well, I'm not going to tell you how you really say it, because that wouldn't be any fun. Back in New York, when we lived together, he used to get mail all the time with different spellings on it. And the best one, I'll give it to you, because it's going to set up this joke, but his last name's Chandrasekhar.
Chandrasekhar, okay.
And one time it was so screwed up, he got a bill in New York that was Chackamonian.
So not even close.
We just call him Jay Chackamonian.
Jay Chackamonian. I love it.
Jay Chackamonian.
I love it. Now, have you had a lot of time behind the camera, a lot on a lot of these shoots? I know that there's usually a one director for, I know you guys bill yourselves as the Broken Lizard group, but is there, but generally each film kind of sends, it's either Jay directing, like Super Troopers, or Kevin directing Slam and Salmon or something like that. Do you guys, do you have guys ever really rotate behind the camera though too, or is it collaborative that way too, or you guys find it's best to just be like, okay, one guy, one role, type of thing?
No, I think we all are interested in rotating a bit. Paul is about to direct another feature. Well, Paul directed a movie called Watching the Detectives.
Oh.
That starred Lucy Liu and Cillian Murphy. That was an independent feature that Paul directed, and Steve has a script he's trying to direct. Paul actually is moving forward with a horror film that he wrote and is about to direct. Kevin certainly really enjoys directing, and I would, if I could find sort of an intimate script, maybe something that meant something to me. I want to start small. And so I'd like to find a small script.
Okay. Yeah, do you have, when you watch movies, how do you generally view movies? Do you view it as, to be entertained, or do you view it in the eyes of an actor, kind of, do you kind of look at the characters and, examine it from, different standpoints? Is it, once you've been in it, a part of it, can you separate yourself from it, I guess is the question.
Oh, yes. I personally can. I'm probably more critical than I'd like to be, but I certainly am able to enjoy films and comedies and television shows. I studied acting from high school, college, and then I went to acting school in New York City afterwards, so I probably am more critical of in the acting world. Mm-hmm. As much as I enjoy directing and editing and such, I'm probably more hypercritical in the acting world.
Now, you guys are still doing some stand-up too. You guys just released a live stand-up DVD, which you can either find it at obviously brokenlizard.com, or you could find it over at probably Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. But get it from brokenlizard.com, because I'm sure you guys probably make more money that way. And I definitely support you guys, because you guys have maintained that. You guys have started indie, definitely indie, and then you guys have all your movies still feel that way. Like, none of your movies, and this is a compliment, believe me. It sounds probably just going to sound backhanded, but it's a compliment. All your movies still feel indie in a way. Like, they don't feel like that, even if it's got a Universal logo in front of it, or a Paramount, or a Fox Searchlight, or whatever. It still feels like it's a Broken Lizard flick. I mean, I can watch, and also listen to, I can, all the flicks, and they all sound like a Broken Lizard flick. It's kind of like how some people say, like, oh, you can listen to a Kevin Smith movie and you know it's a Kevin Smith movie by the dialogue or whatever. I feel the same way with you guys. I mean, do you guys really try to stay, with a certain style to your movies, or, how do you guys generally, approach stuff like cinematography and audio? And I mean, do you guys have a kind of a set crew even that you work with? I mean, obviously you work with each other, but do you guys have like a set cinematographer you like to work with, stuff like that?
We do. Cinematography can be hard because when you're ready to shoot, sometimes they've booked jobs. So we've had several different DPs on our films, but it's not for lack of liking one or the other. It's just that oftentimes they get busy.
Okay.
And when you're ready to start shooting, for example, like we work with Larry Shear on Club Dread, and then he ended up working with Todd Phillips and doing The Hangover. Next thing you know, he's booked for 5 years in advance.
Good for him, though.
What's that?
I said good for him, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
So,
these guys.
Yeah.
But we certainly, when we started, you start working with a crew, and then you become loyal when you start finding people that you really enjoy working with, and then it becomes like a family. And we've had the same producer for all of our films, and the sound guy for all of our films, and Kevin's brother Pat has been the grip on all of our films. It's great.
Excellent. Now, let's put on our professor's jacket with the padded, the patchy sleeves and all that for a second, and I want to talk a little bit about Puddle Cruiser and that kind of mentality of, okay, I just made a movie, now what? Like, we were talking a little bit about it before the show, and I know that a lot of our audience is made up of independent filmmakers, actors, actresses, producers, etc., and all of them are looking to break out. I mean, everyone in the entertainment business is looking to break out, but you guys are the one of the exceptions. Of you guys started with Puddle Cruiser and then blew up with Super Troopers and then all this other stuff. Great stuff happened to you. What happens after you make Puddle Cruiser? I mean, did you guys play the festival circuit? I mean, what happens to get from Puddle Cruiser to Super Troopers?
Sure. No, I'm glad you asked about Puddle Cruiser. That's one of my favorite of ours. We were doing sketch comedy in New York, and we needed time to change costumes in between sketches, so we started making little 2-minute videos. Mm-hmm. And then we had a friend at NYU that was directing his thesis, so we made a half-hour feature with him. And then we wanted to make the next step because, like you said, like Kevin Smith and Linkletter and there's Tarantino and Rodriguez, so it's like independent film movement was happening. We thought, well, that'd be fun to go make a film. So we didn't really know what we were doing necessarily when we started making Puddle Cruiser, but we knew we wanted to make a film. So we raised about $100,000, and we got the movie in the can by using short ends, pretending to be NYU film students. We went back to our college campus and shot in the summertime when no one was there. It was definitely like guerrilla filmmaking, beg, borrow, steal, everything. And so then we finished it, and Jay took a job as an editor during the day so he could use an editing bay at night. And so he'd work his job as an editor, and then at night he and Kevin would edit this film at night and then sleep for a couple hours in the editing bay and then go back to work during the day. And so then we had this film. And then all we knew was that these people had submitted, like Sundance Film Festival at the time wasn't really that established, a little bit, but this is back in like '96. And so we just started submitting the movie to film festivals. And the first thing we did was we screened it in New York City, and somebody from the Hampton Film Festivals, we got to come see it. And that won the Hampton, we actually won the Hampton Film Festival that year, and we got like the Golden Starfish Award or something. And then we were able to get into Sundance with it in January. So the only thing we did when we had an independent film in our hands was we wanted to try to get distribution, or we wanted to get people to see it. So we knew that maybe the festival circuit was probably the only way you're going to get anyone to see it.
Now, I know that you mentioned that you guys raised $100,000 to make Puddle Cruiser. Now, I look at my co-host Steven, Stuck Like Chuck's director, Jerry Cavallaro. I almost said Kevin Smith. I don't know why. That was a slip of the tongue, Freudian slip. But he was looking to even get his next movie funded, and he tried like crowdfunding, and he's tried the old thing like, I'm going to go to my orthodontist and I'm going to see if he can donate money. So how did you guys raise? And he's only looking for like 20 grand. I don't know how did you guys go about raising, and I'm sure it might have been a little bit easier being that there's 5 of you and whatever, but how did you guys go about raising $100,000?
Yeah, it probably helped because there's 5 of us in the sense that I was temping in an investment bank in New York at the time, and I ended up hearing, I made friends with another guy there who was an investment banker, and we put together like kind of this offering memorandum, like a little brochure, and we would send it to all of our friends asking them to help invest. So we would give $5,000 here, someone's mom and dad or aunt and uncle or something would give a couple $1,000 here, and through just asking friends we were able to put some money together. And then the big thing was that Jay was mistaken for a doctor because his last name's Indian. And he was given a credit card, stupidly, with no limit. And we ended up putting a lot of money on that credit card.
Wow. Now, did you guys have any plan whatsoever if that didn't work? Like, no, I mean, not that you didn't raise the money, but like, if you raised the money, you made the movie, and nothing happened with it. I mean, did you guys have a plan to pay back any of that money? Or is it basically like, all right, guys, let's put in some overtime?
We were so young and stupid, didn't have a clue. There's no net, we were waiting tables. Jay, Steve, and I were all waiting tables at a restaurant in New York City at the time. And Jay was editing, and Jay had also gotten a job working for John Sloss, the independent lawyer. Yeah, he runs Cinetic Media now, and he also is the entertainment lawyer for Kevin Smith, actually. Yeah, he's still Jay's lawyer, too, after all these years. Jay took a job as an assistant just so he could meet him. I will say, that's another guy I would like to interview. I bet he not only has some stories, but really good insight. But, you guys, so you made Puddle Cruiser, and then did you guys you guys said you took it around to some festivals and stuff like that. Did you guys have a... did you guys, when you finally met up with like distributors, I know we're probably talking more about Super Troopers at this point, but I mean, when you guys were kind of, using Puddle Cruiser as a calling card for Super Troopers, how did you guys get approached by like Fox Searchlight for something like that? And how did you deal with them, from a contractual standpoint? What happens when someone like Fox Searchlight says like, okay guys, we're interested, let's make a movie? It's pretty nice. Well, but the thing was, after we made Puddle Cruiser, it didn't get in theaters, and so we sort of felt that we had made a film and nothing happened, and we were disappointed for sure, and we felt like we were back to ground zero. So we started writing Super Troopers, but there wasn't anybody banging down our door. Nobody was putting Puddle Cruiser in theaters, but we did have it as a calling card. And so we wrote Super Troopers, and we tried to go to every studio with it, and people really enjoyed the script, and they wanted to put actors in it like Matt Damon or Ben Affleck or somebody that would be a star, and we told them that we wanted to act in it and direct it, and they sort of just laughed at us. So we then were told to not let the door hit us on the way out, and we had nowhere to go. We had nothing. There's no interest. Even at the time, we had Jersey Films was the producer, but no studio was going to make it with us acting and directing in it. Now, is Jersey Films, is that Danny DeVito's production company? Yes. Okay. I don't think they exist anymore, but it was. I think they did Pulp Fiction and Out of Sight, some great movies. Wow. It's weird how stuff like that just kind of goes away, even though they've got successful stuff behind them. Yeah, exactly. So we had to. We then were. We were about to give up. I mean, we had this script that we really liked, but no one wanted to make it, and we didn't know what to do. And then a friend of ours said, a friend's father was retiring as an investment banker, and he really wanted to get into producing films and was looking for scripts. And we said, well, can we send him our script? And he agreed to read it. And he liked it, and he was very enthusiastic about it, and said he'd give us $1 million. and so then we had to go out and make it independently. And again, we had to go through the process of submitting it to festivals. Unfortunately, we got into Sundance, but we were given the midnight slot, which we didn't get into like the main competition, and we were in the midnight slot, and we again were nervous if anything was going to happen. We had already been through the whole process of the ringer with Photo Cruiser, and it didn't sell, and so we didn't have any expectations going into Sundance of selling Super Troopers. At this point, I had so much debt on my credit card. I was asking a friend if his father would give me a job, and I was about to get out of the business, and I said, I'll just go to Park City and see, but I thought that was sort of like my last hurrah. And we did a big midnight screening, and it was rowdy, and people were drinking, and they came, and it was the first time Super Troopers was screened at this midnight screening in Park City, and it had a great reception, and fortunately, several people had come to see it that night, and they saw it with a really fun audience, including Fox Searchlight, and so they offered to buy it that evening, and that sort of changed everything for us.
And you know, we're actually getting some comments in the chat room. I just want to share with you too. It's Eric. First of all, Mojave44, our friend Michelle. She says Eric remains my fave cat in Club Dread, by the way. and also.
Killer.
And let's see. Another one. Let's see. I saw another one here. The chat room's going by so quickly. It's tough. Anyways, so when you did, all right, so you made Super Troopers. Obviously, it becomes this huge cult hit. Obviously, it's going to open a lot of doors for everyone involved. I'm sure, though, that there's a cautionary tale or two of, you know, getting, you know, from, say, you know, Super Troopers to Club Dread, you know, and moving forward. I mean, are there any experiences that you guys have had where it's like, oh, that was shady, or you guys got either taken advantage of, or you were like, wait a minute, that wasn't the deal, or anything like that? An independent filmmaker that, you know, gets their film out there, now maybe, okay, maybe they need to be a little cautious of? Or have you guys just been ultra lucky?
Well, I mean, I know that we didn't really get a great reception with Club Dread, and I think it's because maybe people may say they don't enjoy the movie, they don't think it's a great movie, but we certainly could have stayed in our wheelhouse, which would have been just a straightforward comedy. We tried to make sort of a horror thriller, kind of 80s romp. It was a mix, which I don't know if we necessarily drilled the tone. Mm-hmm. And so I guess we were trying to be ambitious when we maybe could have tried to stay down the middle a little bit, and that may have helped. But I guess at the same time, we wanted to try something new instead of just going straight to a sequel.
I mean, was that something that was talked about initially, like right off the bat? Like, okay, now guys, your next movie, Super Troopers 2.
Certainly people were interested in trying to go straight to a sequel, and I guess we just wanted to try different characters because we came from a sketch comedy background. You know, obviously, you know from being in the independent film world that making a movie, it takes years in your life. And we had just spent years as these cops and enjoyed them, but we wanted to try something different.
Did you guys ever get mistaken at all for real police while you were shooting?
Oh, yeah, it was a blast.
Nice.
You have these uniforms on, and you feel this power that you only get from the uniform. And you know, we tried to look authentic for the costumes, and so people thought we were. You could put your hand up and cars would stop, and we also had the prop cars, so you'd have to drive them home at night because it was such a low-budget crew, and oftentimes we just have to drive the cars back ourselves afterwards because we didn't have enough people in the transport department. So nice. I remember one time I would drive on the freeway, and you got this power because you're driving it, and cars would not want to go faster than you. And so I would try to slow down traffic to see if anyone would go past me or fly past me, and then if they would drive faster than me and past me, I would get angry and then try to catch up to them to see if I could get them to slow down again. And I may have turned on the lights once or twice.
Maybe. That can't be proven.
And the cops came to our hotel. We had this ratty motel we were staying in, and one day we get a knock on the door, and somebody had told us that we were impersonating police officers, and they came to track us down, and I hid underneath the bed.
That seems like the appropriate response.
Not quite the power.
No. You went from He-Man right back down to Prince Adam.
I did a 13-year-old boy.
So,
I guess 13-year-old is kind of old to be hiding underneath the bed. Maybe a 5-year-old boy.
5-year-old. There you go. So what's the so again, Super Troopers. One of the other questions I actually got let's see, earlier here. You're in another. All you guys are actually in another movie that I don't know. If, forgive me for being ignorant. I don't know. Is it already out or is it coming out? You're in a movie with Dave Foley called Freeloaders.
Oh yeah, we had a deal at Warner Brothers for a while where they wanted us to try to bring in young filmmakers and writers and bring some comedy into the studio. So we were approached by Adam Duritz, the lead singer of the Counting Crows, who had a true story about his life. And what happened was after he made his big first album, he became a big rock star and he bought a big house on Beverly Hills and he was on the road all the time and he had a group of friends who basically crashed at his house. He had 5 friends that crashed at his house for I think 7 years. And a couple guys wrote a movie about it, and we really enjoyed the script, and it came to us, and so we signed on as producers, and we did a small cameo in it, but it's not a Broken Lizard film per se. It's not starring or written by or directed by Broken Lizard. It was a film that we produced loosely based on Adam Duritz's life, lead singer of the Counting Crows, but it was fun, and it was very low budget, again, independent world, and I suppose that's why he came to us, because he knew that we liked making independent films.
Nice.
So it's fun.
No, it's the great part about that too is that I like the fact that you guys, and I see you guys in all over TV and in movies and stuff like that, little cameos here and there, and to me I find it awesome that you guys are you'll take time out to do just like oh yeah, you want us to do like 5 minutes, sure, and you'll round up the boys and you'll head out and do it, or you'll whatever it is. I mean, it just seems like you guys always have fun with what you guys do, and that's what part of your job is really like work, or I mean I know I'm sure the writing is probably a bitch, but in the production process, but what part of what you do is to you is like the hardest part?
I think cracking a script, really sitting down. It used to be much more loose when we were young, in our early 20s, and we'd write a script. It was more like you take a sketch and kind of weave it together. And now it's become a little bit more sitting in a room and trying to crack the story and the structure. Like right now we're trying to crack an outline, and that's probably what feels like work the most, even though it's still a great day job. Do you guys do you personally, I guess, do you still prefer to do stand-up, or do you prefer acting in a movie or television or anything like that? Oh, I prefer acting in film and television. The way that we got to stand-up was sort of interesting, as we started doing live sketch comedy for years in New York, and we toured around. We always enjoyed being on the road, and so we kind of thought that we would get back on the road and do a live show, and we ended up kicking off in Montreal at the Montreal Comedy Festival a year ago, July, and we put together this long show that had sketches, and we even had a half-hour one-act play that was part of it. And I think when the show started at midnight, it ended about 2 o'clock. It was really long. It was about 120 minutes, way too long, but it was fun. And it turned out really that people wanted to come see us and hear stories, and so our live show sort of evolved into telling stories, and that sort of evolved into stand-up. It almost sounds kind of like, and I hate to make the comparison, but it almost sounds kind of like the Kevin Smith Q&As, where he now kind of just tours and does the Q&A things that go on for like 7 hours. Except it sounds a little bit more fun because you have 5 people. Have you seen it? I've heard he's very successful in his storytelling. No, I have. I've been. I went to his 37th. You can see me in the DVD of his 37th birthday when he was in Red Bank, New Jersey, for his 37th birthday. I think it's like a three evening with Kevin Smith. That's what it is. That one. Oh, that's awesome. I'd love to hear some of his stories. I'm sure they're phenomenal. The ones that don't make the DVD are the ones that are phenomenal. Like the one where he's talking about how Jennifer Lopez wiped her ass with one of his hand towels and then took it with her to hide it because he was out of toilet paper in his bathroom. Obviously, that one's not making the DVD, but I'll be happy to share it on my program. That is amazing.
But yeah, it's the stuff that like it doesn't make it out there that to me is the funniest. But the cool part is like, I mean, he just did one on. I mean, I can't believe we're talking about Kevin Smith here, but he just did one on Epix, the new channel Epix. It was called Too Fat for 40, and it was supposed to be a Q&A. He literally took one question for 4 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
He's very talented.
Now, for you guys, for you, I mean, do you, obviously you're active on Twitter, and for those of you out there who want to follow Erik and Broken Lizard, you can actually go to twitter.com/Erik Stolhanske and follow Erik and what he's got to say there, and all the stuff that you tweet, retweet, and chat about. And then you obviously have twitter.com/Broken Lizard as well, where you can kind of keep up to date with the guys, and also get them on Facebook too. I think they're under Broken Lizard Industries, and they've got a bunch of stuff on there from the stand-up tour and stuff like that. It's actually a really cool page. You guys stay very, very active with your audience. How do you stay connected, and do you find it to be a hard thing to kind of interact and all that kind of stuff? Not interact in a way of like you're some closeted shut-in or something, but in a way of like do you have to keep up like the expectation of satisfying the audience and stuff like that? I mean, does Twittering and Facebooking and stuff like that feel forced sometimes, or is it because it's kind of part of your job, or is it something like you guys really genuinely enjoy?
We definitely enjoy it. It really just comes down to that we're I don't think we were born the generation that was raised in it, and we're not necessarily great at remembering to do it. Like, even though we love our audience, and one of the best times we had is last year we did a 6-month tour where we traveled the country and we did live shows and we got to interact with our audience, and that to us was very fulfilling. And that was really great, actually getting out there and meeting the people all the way across the country. We did it all across the country. And we're starting to write another show, and we'd like to get back out and do it. And Kevin and Steve just did a couple cities where they went out and told some stories. So we should be better at Twitter and Facebook. But we just get so busy writing during the day and then having families that it's something we should focus on a little bit better. We did a couple of podcasts, and we really like that.
Okay. No, I actually, and you guys are all very good at doing the podcast, by the way. You guys all have very good stories that you guys tell, and I think that when you guys are, all together, kind of, sharing stories, kind of mostly even talking amongst yourselves, I think that that's sometimes some of the funniest stuff comes out. It's kind of like listening to a director's commentary, but for the entire, for a podcast. I've got to take one quick break. We're just going to cut to a quick little sponsor commercial, and then we'll be right back with more Erik Stolhanske here on Film Snobbery Live. So everyone stick around. We'll be right back. Wirecast by Telestream is a live production tool that allows everyone to easily broadcast live events and create professional webcasts from any location. All you need is a computer and an internet connection. With features that include live chroma keying, streaming from multiple cameras, and built-in titles, Wirecast has everything out of the box to allow your broadcast to look professional. Try their free Windows or Mac demo now at www.telestream.net. All right, folks, we're back, and if you heard noise in the background, yes, that was a garage door opening. Gotta love a homemade studio, right? But we actually do have another question from the audience, and I only somewhat know what this person is referring to. I guess back in the day, you did you had a cameo in something, and he keeps saying it's from Yojambo. Keeps saying, ask about the P90X commercial. And what was up with that?
It's true. Are you familiar with the P90X videos, the home videos?
No. Is it like a workout video?
To give you an idea, Darren uses it.
Really?
Yes.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. So yeah, what's up with that, Erik?
One of my close friends is a guy named Tony Horton, and he's the trainer in the P90X videos, and he asked me if I would. I did a test group with him, and he's a close friend, and he asked me if I wanted to be part of it, and so I'm in this discipline called plyometrics,
What's that? I know I've heard of it, but I don't know specifically what it is. Is that like what is it?
It's like jump. It's like jump. It's all legs. It's based on like East German skiing technique. It's hard. It's hard. I like to exercise. I used to play baseball, and we still do a weekly softball. Broken Lizard has a Wednesday night softball league that we play in.
Huh.
So we all like sports, and I guess personally I like athletics a lot. So I did this workout video, which not knowing it would become as popular as it is, it's been the #1 infomercial and #1 home video, exercise home video for years.
Well, I just find it kind of endearing that you guys all play softball together. Like, I don't know why, but to me, I'm like, my first gut reaction is, that's cute. But no, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, like, you know, you get a group of guys that work together, like, you work hard, you know, you work together, you play together, and, you know, especially after, like, long periods of time, people work together for a long time, sometimes there can be, I don't want to say there's tension, but, you know, sometimes there can just be like, look, I see you all day at work, I just want to go be by myself. And somebody, obviously, like, you know, people have, you know, home lives, like they're married, or do any of the guys have, do you guys have kids yet?
Yeah, a bunch of guys have kids. Kevin's got 3, Jay's got 3, Paul's got 2.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of little kids running around.
Is it hard to manage?
Softball's great. You got to clear out the time, but we always make time Wednesday nights. Nat Faxon, who was in BEERFEST and Club Dread, he's on our team, and Isaiah Mustafa, who's the Old Spice guy, he plays with us.
Nice.
It's fun. It's a blast.
That's cool, man. Now, I guess what I was saying before about, you know, people, you know, sometimes there can be tension and stuff like that with people who work together for a long time. Do you find that, you know, if there ever is a fight either on set or something like that, or a disagreement, do you guys have a kind of a way of settling things amicably, or, you know, is it mostly like, okay, guys, let's get in the ring and let's duke it out, or how's it work?
Jello wrestling.
Jello wrestling?
Jello wrestling.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I could.
We fight all the time, but we fight in a way that a family would fight.
Okay.
We've known each other for so long, we were friends for so long, that there's always going to be fights as if it's like brothers and sisters or brothers and brothers, you know.
Yeah, mine always ended. My family fights always ended in you know, black eyes. So
really,
I'm not sure that that's the correct analogy to make. No, okay. I just picture when you said Jello wrestling, I for some reason immediately went to Heffernan, just oiled up, greased up, like he's ready to take someone down. That's wrong, I know, but that's where my brain went.
Powdered sugar.
Powdered sugar. We were talking about that before the show.
He's a brave man.
The tuna can, right?
Oh, the tuna can. Yeah, we had to oil him up with Vaseline for the powdered sugar to stick. You know, the brave person was the makeup woman.
Well, and then you had a little incident too with the shaving cream.
Yeah, menthol.
Yeah, menthol shaving cream.
The best prop. Well, I guess the prop people, that's all I could find. They didn't even think about it, and so I started filling that locker with menthol, and then I started. My eyes started glossing over and burning, and my skin started burning.
Now let's shift it over to again, we're gonna get a little educational here. So if pretend you're on a podcast and you're speaking to a lot of independent filmmakers, shouldn't be a stretch because that's pretty much what's going on here. What's the the biggest piece of advice that you could give to an upcoming independent filmmaker, whether it's, you know, whether they're in the screenwriting stage or whether they've got a finished movie that they're trying to get out to an audience?
Sure. I guess there's a couple things. I mean, one is to be true to your voice. You know, like we all obviously have our own stories to tell. We talked about sort of like the idea of the podcast, and you liked hearing the stories. And I think our films, a lot of the stuff that we, like Super Troopers, the opening scene of Super Troopers was a real story, based on a real story. So it's retelling funny things that happen in your life, things that are true to you. And so that's your voice and your stories that you're going to be writing. And that's always important to maintain that. The second, I think, is to remember, if, you know, filmmaking is a business, and people give you a lot of money. Like, even if you borrowed $5,000 from somebody, that's a lot of money to them. And so I think it's important to remember in this business that film, you know, it costs a lot of money to make movies,
Mm-hmm.
and people want to see that money back. And I'm not trying to say that you should write commercial films that have to be tentpole films at studios or something like that, but you know, investors do like to see their money back, and that helps have longevity in this career.
Okay, and do you think that writing something that, yes, has an audience kind of built in a little bit, will, and if it's successful, will give you an opportunity to do something a little more experimental? I mean, isn't that kind of a little bit of what you did from Super Troopers to Club Dread?
Yeah,
Okay.
like Owen Wilson and Wes Anderson. You know, like Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson certainly have a very unique voice, and I don't know if I would say it's mainstream, but it has a voice that an audience responds to, and it's allowed them to make very interesting movies, and I think terrific films. But it has an audience, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All of Wes Anderson's movies have, you know, that similar tone and feel to them, and there's a very set audience for that kind of stuff. And we actually do have a question from my co-host, Jerry Cavallaro. He actually, you know what, I'm going to let him ask the question. Jerry, go ahead. And you can ask Erik Stolhanske, our guest for the evening, member of Broken Lizard, actor in numerous films, and he's obviously just a wonderful guy. Jerry, ask him your question.
Wow, you're actually letting me ask a question. That's not a good sign for the show.
Don't make me regret it, Jerry. Just ask him the damn question. Okay?
Sure. do people ever give you or anyone else in Broken Lizard like copies of their films or their scripts and like constantly ask you for advice? And if they do, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I would say we probably get offered scripts almost on a daily basis. It's too hard. Unfortunately, with family and trying to focus on our own writing endeavors and stuff like that, it's really hard to find the time in the day to even get our own scripts written, so it's impossible to read every script that comes in. Mm-hmm. And so there's not a lot we could necessarily do even if we read it, so we always are very grateful and appreciative of it, but rarely have time to sit down and read, that much time to just read. My advice is to just put the product together, and I mean, I can't tell anyone to do what. All I can do is share the stories that we have in our lives and what we've done, and we've been successful in basically just trying to put it up on the screen. So I guess if I had advice, would be to just go out and make a product. And I think that's for music or film or any sort of art, is you have to just kind of take your vision and go out and make it.
Nice. Have you ever seen a movie called Stuck Like Chuck?
Stuck Like Chuck? No, I've seen Chuck and Buck. Does that count?
No, not. No, this movie's actually good. No, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Do you not like Chuck and Buck? I thought that was pretty great.
I'm just kidding. I've never seen it.
Wait, Mike White, early Mike White?
No, I didn't see it. I'm gonna now that you mention it though, I'm definitely gonna have to go like seek it out intentionally.
Yeah, go check it out. It's a great movie.
You know, when it stinks there. I've kind of almost stopped watching a lot of other movies, like even online and stuff like that, because being a film critic as well, I get sent movies a lot, which I'm sure you do as well. Being, you know, in the industry, I'm sure people are always trying to find that in by like, here's my movie, Jerry. You have his movie. That's why I say it.
Did I answer Jerry's question all right? Did I answer it correctly?
You did. Thank you. That was a good answer.
I don't know.
Yeah, Nick will explain. I think because he was starting to say something now.
Yeah, no. He, when Jerry interviewed you guys for Slam and Salmon, he gave you all a copy of Stuck Like Chuck, which is his film.
Right.
That's why. Yeah, no. I like making Jerry uncomfortable because it's funny.
Well, we do get movies and scripts every day, so I have to go back. I watched that. That was like a year and a half ago, so I got to go back in the files, but.
Nice.
I gotta go find that.
Sweet. No, and you know what? You actually would like it. It has Chris Elliott in it, and it has Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma Films in it, and
Sure.
It's a nice little cute romantic comedy. But anyway, enough pitching Jerry's movie. We actually do have another quick question from the audience. Kim Garland, KGNYC on Twitter, asks, should you balance budget with, she says, commerciality? More commercial, more you can be willing to spend. So, yeah. That was the question.
Definitely. I mean, so many people are trying to make films in a reasonable budget these days, and it's just smart because there's less distribution available. You have less debt to try to recoup. So I'm shooting this indie comedy. I guess I'll plug the movie I'm doing next, but I'm shooting this indie comedy coming up in the next couple of weeks. We start shooting, and we're just trying to do it really inexpensively and trying to do it in 15 days. I've never made a movie in 15 days. It's half of even Puddle Cruiser. So I think that's the new trend, though. Like, people are definitely trying to make these films for lower budgets and very short shooting schedules. And I suppose that's because they can do it with digital.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a preference from digital to actual film, or is it pretty much whatever fits the style of the movie?
I'm sorry, can I ask that question again?
I'm sorry. Do you have a preference between actual film or digital, or shooting digitally, or is it more of a what fits the style of a film?
I suppose it what fits the style. I mean, digital technology is advancing so much. Some of the stuff looks great. I don't know if I've ever shot a digital film before, but I enjoy seeing some of it. It's definitely making leaps and bounds.
Now, what's the when you guys are all writing together, are you guys conscious of budget when you're writing, or is it more like, okay, we're going to write the best script that we can possibly write, and if the studio comes back and says there's no way we can do this for X amount of dollars or whatever it is, I mean, how does the process go when you write a script and submit it and all that kind of stuff? I mean, I know that's kind of probably two separate questions, but yeah, I guess we'll start with how do you, when you guys are writing, are you aware of budget?
No, it's a good question and fair. We have many different scripts, and they're all in different budget ranges. And so we have different ranges. Like, we have a $25 million script that we've been trying to make for years, but no one is ever willing to give us that much money. We had this low budget script that when the writer's strike happened, we could pull it off the shelves, and that was Slam & Salmon, that we could make because we knew it took place in one location. So we try to have sort of different ranges so that if an opportunity arises, we have the script available.
Okay, no, that's good. And then now, is there always a budget expectation when you're approaching a studio? I mean, does the studio kind of dictate, we want you guys to write a movie, it needs to be between this budget and this budget, or how does or do you find out kind of after you've already submitted the script that they're like, yeah, we're not going to be able to make this?
There's definitely like a range where they know that they can make a profit from us, and this goes back to the point that I made earlier, is that making films is all about the business of it, and once you start kind of getting involved, you realize that all people on the other side of the people that are on the finance side, the studio side, all they care about is the numbers. And so they crunch them, and you become a statistic, and it's how much they think they can get back from you that they're willing to give you. And so you kind of have to build up a little bit, like, Puddle Cruiser to Super Troopers to BEERFEST, they were all gradual steps, and it was all small increments of somebody taking small risks. Mm-hmm. Where somebody like Owen Wilson was able to make a jump to much larger films because he got greater returns, mm-hmm. and his value was higher. And Kevin Smith has a range, and we have a range, and everybody sort of has a range, and everyone kind of knows what that range is.
Now, with kind of the, you guys have said you've done a couple podcasts and stuff like that, and obviously you have the new DVD out, the live stand-up DVD. Again, everyone can go grab that over at brokenlizard.com. Have you guys ever thought of doing a kind of regular show where you're doing skits and releasing them purely for the web? I mean, kind of a web show. I don't really have a... because, either charging for, say, like putting them in podcast form and charging for them or something like that, kind of like, Rooster Teeth does. Rooster Teeth does that with, their stuff. Any thoughts of ever doing something like that and just going kind of digitally?
Yeah, we definitely thought if we were able to do that, the podcast would be the one that we might be able to pull off. With 5 people, it's always like wrangling cats. Everyone's lives are so busy these days, especially with kids. Jay and Kevin have 3, and Jay's doing television often, and we're off sort of directing different projects. It's really hard to get together.
I'll tell you what, if any of the other guys ever want to be on the show, they can bring the kids. I don't care.
Well, I think like Kevin tonight was at a ballet recital. He had to take his daughter to like a ballet recital. Life just pulls you in different directions. It's very hard to sort of do things on a consistent basis outside of writing together.
Awesome. No, I mean, and
we'd love to do it sometime.
That would be absolutely phenomenal. Although I'd probably just shut up and just let you guys talk.
Well, it used to be much easier when we first started. We were living in New York City and we lived together in a loft, and every day you'd see each other. We worked together at a restaurant, you'd see each other at night, and I wish this technology was around back then. We would have turned on the tape recorder and gone.
Now, when you guys were writing Slam and Salmon, did you guys take a lot of the experiences you had while waiting tables in New York? Did you take a lot of that and infuse that in the script?
Yeah, I mean, the main story of Lemmy quitting and then coming back to where he works, that was based on his real story in New York.
And now, is there a reason why there is a character there called Steve Lemiducci, which is Lemmy douche, or what? Was there something to that?
We always liked that name, the Dooch.
The Dooch.
So we just took Lemmy and added it to the Dooch. The
Dooch. You guys, I'm just thinking about that, and I'm like, you guys have worked with because I'm thinking of Lance Henriksen saying that, the Dooch. You guys have worked with so many awesome people. You've like I just said, Lance Henriksen. You've worked with. I mean, come on, Hannibal Lecter. You've worked with the first Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. That's absurd. I think we've worked with 4 Academy Award winners.
I'm wondering, where's yours? Where's your nod?
How ridiculous is that?
I know. Is there anyone that you haven't worked with yet that you want to work with?
I am an absolute crazy lunatic fan of Bill Murray.
Nice.
And
who isn't though?
Spacey, I love.
Again, I'm right there with you. I'm right there. Yeah. No, you guys. I mean, do you ever still get kind of? I know you've been in the industry forever now. I mean, I say forever. I mean, I mean that in an endearing way, not like, hey, you're old, because you're not. I'm probably not that much younger than you, and which makes me feel horrible about my life because look where you are. The question to that though is that. Do you guys still get starstruck? I mean, I know Jay probably works with, doing TV. He works with a lot, more people consistently. But do you guys ever still get starstruck? It's like, oh my God, we're gonna work with Michael Clark Duncan today, or Dave Foley or whatever,
Yeah, Mead Foley was cool as hell.
He always seems like a great guy. Plus, I'm a huge poker person, so I love Dave Foley's commentary on what was it, the Celebrity Poker Championship?
Yeah, Celebrity Poker,
yeah. Do you kind of have to feel him out first? Are most people pretty cool to work with?
Foley was really funny. I mean, in that film, he really sticks out. I mean, his timing and his presence. He's just such a pro at delivering lines and his rhythm. He's a great guy. I don't know, working with him was really cool.
Awesome.
I mean, the first time I had to do a scene with Brian Cox, it just blew my mind. I think it was a scene that actually ended up getting cut, but I was so nervous going into it. He had so much experience and had so much levity. And one of the reasons we cast these very established actors is that they give the film levity,
mm-hmm.
and they base it and they give it reality and stuff. And they're serious actors that never get offered comedic roles, and so they sort of jump at it.
Cool. Now, for Super Troopers 2, I mean, are you guys looking to have the entire kind of cast? I mean, are you looking to have Brian Cox return? I mean, you don't have to. I know you probably can't give out too much info because I know you're still kind of, whatever on it. But I mean, in a perfect world, let's say, would you like to have, who is it, Marissa? Marissa Coughlan. Yeah, Marissa. Yeah, would you like to have her back and Brian Cox? I mean, is this a true sequel, or is this kind of like a, are you gonna try to pull the Ghostbusters route, where it's like, no, it's all us. We're all old hat cops now, and we're gonna bring in some new kids.
I would say it's maybe more in the Austin Power route, where it is the same Austin Powers and crew, but there are people that rotate in and out of it. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say, because that was a better answer. That I wasn't expecting anything. It was just I was expecting watch, wait and find out, pay for it. Come on, and I will say I have your movies on rotation in my house on a consistent basis. I fall asleep to Sam and Salmon at least twice a week.
That's awesome. I hope more people go see it. It got a very small release because it was kind of a small film and it was independent, but I really like Slam and Salmon.
Me too. Now, another quick question on here. One more question from the audience here. Jambo asks, could you ask about his cameo in Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
So he's getting all the obscure ones.
Yeah. I went and auditioned for it, and I was I didn't know what to expect. You literally get I get a piece of paper. There's no scene, there's no dialogue or anything. I just got a piece of paper that said, "You're Swedish, and Larry mistakes you for being Norwegian." And I was like, all right, that sounds cool. And then the casting director opens the door, and you walk in, and literally like Larry David standing in a room with the whole cast against the wall. And you have to walk in and do an improv with Larry David for the audition. And I guess I did something right because I got the part, but it was a blast. And then you show up, and there's no script or anything. You just start improvising scenes when you get on set. So that was terrifying. Like when you asked me if I get starstruck or nervous, like I was very nervous that day.
Yeah, I can imagine because I guess Larry David has a bit of a reputation of having a little bit of a temper when things don't go right and all that kind of fun stuff. But you having the background in improv, I can imagine that you would have nailed it pretty quick.
And Kevin got to be on the show too. We had fun. I mean, Larry has such a great comedic pedigree, and he's so much experience, and he's so good at what he does. It was to walk into that world was definitely a bit nerve-wracking. But I thought Kevin was great in there too.
Well, Kevin's great, but he couldn't be here. He had this ballet recital to go to. I mean,
exactly.
Jesus,
He's probably in it.
He's probably in it. Heffernan in a tutu, just pirouetting across the stage. It's
end up in a movie sometime.
I would love to see
Part
that.
of the fun of writing is writing those scenes to make fun of the other guys. Like we purposely wrote in Super Troopers that Kevin had to jump over the burger counter and tackle the guy, and have the drink go into his lap. Like we get to write all that stuff to make fun of the other guys, which is the best part.
And we notice that Jay's ass ends up in most of your movies.
We usually write all the guys being nude at some point just to embarrass them.
Who out of all of you would you consider to be the goofiest guy? Who's the one playing the pranks and stuff like that? Because I was actually having a chat with I think it was Jerry at one point, and he was like, Jay seems to be the one who's a little more reserved and straight-laced, which is probably why he gets all the TV gigs and all this other stuff, because he's kind of, he's kind of that. But I mean, would we be surprised that if Jay was really more of the Joker, or is it Lemmy, or?
Jay has a great absurd sense of humor, but he certainly is a little bit more reserved. I would say Lemmy's probably sort of maybe the prankster. Mm. Everyone has their own unique sense of humor. And Lemmy and Heffernan are the kind of guy. Well, Heffernan has a law degree. He can be very serious, but at the same time, whenever you take a photograph or something like that, he never makes a serious face. He's always goofing around. And Lemmy certainly is a prankster of sorts. And
by their powers combined, we get Erik Stolhanske.
Yes, I'm the straight-laced Minnesota earnest boy.
Is that where you're from originally, Minnesota?
Yes, I love Minnesota.
There's so many celebrities come out of Minnesota. We just had Kevin Sorbo on not too many shows ago, and he's from that Minnesota, and it's ridiculous. Lots of talent going out there. Also a lot of improv. I know a lot of comedians come out of Minnesota, which tells me you grew up in Minnesota and you get the fuck out of Minnesota.
I actually still keep an apartment there. My wife is from Minneapolis as well, and we keep an apartment in Minneapolis. We go back all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. That it's kind of cool. You did. I know this is probably the most off-track question. Did you guys meet in Minnesota, or is she in the industry as well, or?
We've only been married for a couple of years, but we knew each other from high school. We reconnected recently. She is a costume designer, and she's designing this indie comedy I'm about to start shooting. So it's been fun working with her as well. Oh,
that is adorable to say. The high school sweetheart thing kind of coming together. I mean, you guys always have these stories it makes you think that really what it makes you think is that Hollywood can work. You know what I mean? It makes you feel that the system can work, not only on a professional level, but on a personal level too. You can maintain a cool career, where you get to kind of do the things that you kind of want to do, but also kind of have that home life where you're not stalked all the time, and you get to make the movies that you want to make, and you get to work with your friends, and it just, even just to wrap up kind of the whole interview and stuff because I want to thank you. You've been with us for an hour. It's been awesome. Thank you. Just to kind of wrap it all up. I mean, you guys serve as that. In that same kind of echelon as Kevin Smith and Linklater and all that, you guys, you made the movies that you want to make, and you've continued to make these movies, and they've continued to be great. I know that Club Dread is, Jerry's favorite movie of the ones that you guys have made. I go back and forth between Super Troopers, Puddle Cruiser, and Slam and Salmon. You know, and you guys just have, you know, and have all been awesome. And then you guys, you know, have adapted too. I mean, every movie you guys have done is, you know, has its similar style, but it has its, you know, it doesn't feel forced like some, you know, filmmakers that stay in that one single style, and it's just great. So, and I want to thank you for coming on the show. And again, I want to tell all the audience out there, you get their live stand-up DVD. Again, BrokenLizard.com. Follow Erik on Twitter, Twitter.com/Erik Stolhanske, Twitter.com/Broken Lizard as well. Check them out on Facebook. If you don't know who they are by now, you really are watching the wrong show, and you need to get cultured. But no, Erik, again, thank you, and I want to say congratulations on everything you're doing, and I definitely applaud you for in the group for staying kind of indie and you know, showing, you really kind of show everyone that it can be done, you know, and that's something that I think a lot of filmmakers really appreciate.
Well, thanks, Nick. I really appreciate that you watch our films and enjoy them, and I hope you guys will keep an eye out for this film I'm about to start working on called Rock Barnes, which I'm really excited about.
And can you tell us anything about Rock Barnes at all?
Yeah, no, I got a call from the casting director to read the script, and I read it, and I really loved the writing. It's a guy named Ben McMillan, and he wrote the script, and he's also directing it, and he's been in the business for about 10 years working as a gaffer and getting experience as, you know, working some camera here and there, and this is his first directing gig, and I'm really excited to be working with him, and it's fun to get back doing indie film. The character is a motivational speaker who is an absurd narcissist, and it lends itself to just great humor in situations. And he is completely self-absorbed until I think the turning point, which is funny for me, is he tells people that they can train a tiger if they put their mind to it. And so one guy goes out and he tries to tame a tiger and he gets his arm ripped off. And then Rock Barnes gets sued and he loses all his money, and he's kind of down and out, and then he tries to put his family back together that fell apart because he's such a narcissist.
And so when's Rock Barnes coming out? I mean, do you have any sort of like release date or anything kind of planned for it, or?
No, we actually start shooting it in a couple weeks.
Oh, okay, cool. So probably within the next 6 months to a year then, right?
Hopefully, yeah. Look for in festivals next year.
Hopefully I'll see it at my screening series next year.
That's right.
There we go. But Erik, thanks again, and I got to tell you, I look forward to the day where you guys finally decide to sit down and write a you know, kind of like a semi-autobiography / how to make it an indie film type of book. I would love to see, like, you call it Slammin' Cruiser Troopers or something. I don't know.
I like that.
And no, I mean, because I mean, just the amount of information you guys have, and you have personally, and you know, the resumes collectively that everybody has, and yourself, you know, with the, you know, going from doing improv in college and then making your first indie movie, getting out there, and then going, just would be awesome. So thank you again for coming on the show, Erik. I greatly appreciate it. And everyone, keep a lookout for Rock Barnes. Keep a lookout for Freeloaders. Keep a lookout for all these guys, because they're everywhere. I mean, they're just, you can't escape Broken Lizard. You can't escape Erik Stolhanske. He's stalking you on Twitter.
Damn.
Yes. When he's not hanging out at Club Merengue with his boys, banging Bangladeshi hookers.
Bangladeshi all night long.
Well, thanks, Erik. You have a great night, and good luck on everything that you have going.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, Jerry. Have a great night, guys.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Erik Stolhanske of Broken Lizard. He's an awesome guy. He stayed with us for like an hour, or past an hour. I'm so happy. Very, very great actor, great, just a funny guy, cool dude to talk to. Again, follow him on Twitter, twitter.com/Erik Stolhanske. We just got so much stuff going on. We got a little bit more show for you. I just want to really quickly do our Indiegogo Project of the Month. Our Indiegogo Project of the Month is a project called Her Name Was Lola. And I'm going to play for you the pitch video right now. We'll be right back and talking very quickly about that and we'll see you in a minute.
Hi, my name is Nina Stiefel. I'm the director and writer of Her Name Was Lola. And usually people put videos on their Indiegogo profiles to kind of tell you about their movie and why you should donate money to them. But I kind of think that I like to work for your money. So I wrote you guys a song, and here it is.
And we're back, everybody. Okay, yeah, that was Her Name Was Lola. And you've just seen the director, and you've heard her. They're trying to raise $7,000. They've got 117 days left, so they just started their campaign, but they've already raised $2,350. I picked this. I spent probably about a good hour on Indiegogo today trying to find the Indiegogo Project of the Month. And the funny thing is that, and I don't know if it's, I don't know what the situation is, but I actually had a hard time picking this week's project. I mean, I was going through, reading a lot of profiles, reading a lot of stuff, and nothing really popped out at me. I watched a lot of trailers, watched, heard a lot of kind of directors do their statements, stuff like that. This one is the one that popped out to me the most, I'm happy to talk about it. Like I said, they're trying to raise $7,000. I always say here, if you can't give money, please give time. Time to tweet it, time to Facebook it, that kind of stuff. You can find it on Indiegogo.com. It's Indiegogo.com/HerNameWasLola-1. And actually, the Her Name Was Lola all has dashes in the middle of it too. Sorry. So her-name-was-Lola-1. It's actually being filmed in New York City. And it's and the filmmaker is from New York as well. It's got an interesting premise, and like I said, from a lot of the stuff that I looked at, this one's the one that stuck out. So check it out because it looks interesting at least. And come on, she sang. I also want to remind everyone, if you are in New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, if you're in New England at all, this weekend, we have FilmSnobbery Live presents A Day at the Palace, or A Day at the Palace presented by FilmSnobbery Live, however you want to say it. Holy shit, indeed.
Batman?
Yes. Yes.
You should just scream, "Go there," and
go there!
And we cut to black.
No, we can't do that yet. Because people need to know when to go and where to go. So it's at the Palace Theater in Danbury, Connecticut. You guys need, it's right off the highway. It's right off Route 84. It's easy to get there from New York City. There's a train station it's right next to the theater. Basically, there's buses. I know the schedules are a little wonky, but I know that. There's a train that gets right to the theater at 10:02 a.m. The show doors open at 1, but I'll be there at 10 o'clock, so maybe we can all get coffee and hang out. Maybe a little pre-show meeting, kind of hang out, a little thing, we can get a coffee or something, and then I got to go do my technical setup and all that kind of fun stuff. Tickets, if you get them online, are just $10. $10 for an entire day of film, because that's how FilmSnobbery rolls. $10 with the promo code FilmSnob130. Not the one you were hoping, not the numbers you were hoping for, but yes. But Film Snob 130, you get $2 off your tickets. They're going to be $12 at the door, $10 if you use the promo code. Buy them online in advance. I mean, if you're going with a group of people, you know, $2 can add up, you know, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There are going to be refreshments and stuff like that available, you know, popcorn, soda, candy, crap like that. We've got some great movies that we're going to show for you. We have Misdirection with Daron Kipper. Daron is actually going to be on hand. He's a magician. He's going to be doing some magic. Wah, wah, wah. He's going to be doing that. Then we have...
Plus, he appeared in the chat room right now.
He's in the chat room right now. Then we also have... another filmmaker that will be in attendance, and his movie will actually be playing next. The next movie that we'll be playing is What's Up Lovely by Gary King. Gary King will be on hand, as well as his star of Death of the Dead, Christina Rose. She'll be there as well. And Gary's bringing some other people. It's going to be fun. We're expecting a pretty decent crowd. I'm really excited for our first show. We have 2 more feature movies that we're going to play, another short called 350 and another feature that everyone here in the Film Snobbery knows, Ink by Jamin Winans. And we'll be playing Ink as our closer. And it's going to be fun. And we're going to be doing Film Snobbery live at the theater. Now, the one thing that I wouldn't say we haven't worked it out yet, but I don't know if it'll be a possibility, just kind of given the way it's all set up. I don't know if we'll be able to broadcast live this show, but I'm working on some ways to do it in the future. So even if we can't broadcast live this show, no biggie. We're still going to record everything, and we're going to edit it together, and we're going to have a whole nice little compilation show that we'll be posting as a regular Film Snobbery live show. So here's the thing. If you're not live at the theater with us, it's not really live then. So you got to show up, because you might miss something. I might just do I might do special features for this one. And by I might do special features, I mean you might shoot special features, and then I might edit them and then post them and do something with them. But maybe those are just for the people. Maybe those will be just for people who own the app, or maybe someone, you know, because we have an app on Android and iPhone. Maybe it'll be just for people who show up. Maybe, you know, we'll send it right directly to their email or something. Maybe we'll do whatever. I don't know. The whole point, though, is that we're going to do some cool shit at this screening of series, and it's going to be awesome. We also have some great movies coming up in February. I just wanted to give them a very quick plug. 2095, Cerise by John Trigonis is going to be playing. We also have The Crimson Mask will be playing as our feature. Elias Plagianos, The Crimson Mask. It's a little off camera, I think, but it's right there. And we also have... we have one more movie. I know we have one more movie, and I keep blanking on movies. Anyways, we have another movie. But the important ones are this one, and then going forward we have another. We'll be finding out in February what our films for March are, which we've already picked out, and I've already started programming for April. So if you haven't yet gone to screenings.filmsnobbery.com and submitted your film to be possibly played at our screening series, please do so. Submissions are only $10. Very, very cheap. Do it. Do it immediately. And then you can have your film, your independent film that everyone always says it's got to play in an actual theater on the big screen. I got to see it. Well, you could do that for $10, possibly, if it gets chosen. So please submit. I would appreciate it, because you're not only helping us, you're helping us help you. And that's how that goes. We were going to talk about Red State tonight, Red State and Kevin Smith and the whole Sundance thing, but I know my director is so anxious to leave.
I was about to say, fuck that, because I really have no interest in Kevin Smith right now. I'm so pissed off at how much of an asshole he's acting like, and I hope he's watching. Sorry.
He's not watching.
He's not.
Yeah, no one's watching, actually.
Yes, but...
But I say it here, you heard it first, fuck Kevin Smith, I really don't care anymore.
I'm pretty sure that's not the first I've heard that.
Jerry, I've heard it from you plenty.
So, yeah. But, that being said, yeah, Red State, there's obviously a lot to talk about. I think that maybe what we'll do is we'll have a little chat about that, maybe not tonight. Soon. Maybe a special
Maybe
improv...
Sunday.
Maybe Sunday. Maybe Sunday.
Or maybe if we can get Bob Hawk involved.
I think we should. I think Bob Hawk should come back on the. I'm going to get Bob Hawk back on the show to talk about Red State.
I was the one who suggested that a few days ago, and I emailed him about it. So let's fingers crossed. 'Cause
Yeah.
that would be cool to do that like soon.
It would be awesome because as soon as he ignores Jerry's email, I'll call him and I'll say, "Hey, Bob, you should come on the show," and he'll go like, "Okay."
It's already been a week, so you probably.
Yeah, to be fair though, he was probably at Sundance.
Well, he was.
Yeah.
It was
So
the morning of the premiere. Probably not the best time to email him.
When I see Jerry Cavallaro, I usually hit the delete button pretty quickly.
yeah. But that being said, I mean, even given the naysayers and the other crap going on with Red State, I don't want to get into it. But the one statement I will make on it is, I don't appreciate the theatrics that he's going to for it, but I do kind of somewhat like the approach. I don't know. I'm conflicted, but at the same time, like, it's different, and I don't necessarily hate different. So, you know, we'll talk a lot more about it sometime in the very near future, and you guys can ask all your questions, and we can have a chat about that, nice little group roundtable. But that being said, we do need to go for the evening because, you know, we got a full show. It is what it is. So I want to thank everyone who showed up tonight. We are going to be talking about we're going to be talking about some great announcements, FilmSnobbery exclusives at our screening series on Sunday, so definitely be there. I want to thank Ryan for being here. I want to thank Erik Stolhanske from Broken Lizard for taking the time out, the only one who took the time out to come on the show, you know, because Heffernan's got to take care of his kids. No, that's awesome. Hopefully we have everyone on the show soon, and we can make fun of Erik behind his back.
That's not going to happen. He's
No.
like, hey guys, never do this show, Film Snobbery. We had it on for like an hour, and it was just awful. And it's in a garage.
It was awful. And you're right, it was in a garage. That being said, tune in to the end of the credits for a fun little surprise. Ryan, go ahead and hit the credits. Good night, everybody.